of my subscribers. Thank you all for subscribing to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Thank you for your love, for your support. I really appreciate each and every one of you that have subscribed to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I actually don't take it for granted. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew an off-shoulder gown with a crinoline hem. So you can see the picture up there. So it is a very beautiful dress. So that's what we are going to be learning how to cut and sew today. Okay, so if you are new to the channel, you are highly and very welcome. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to Stylish Naija YouTube channel, and then also hit on the bell to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So that's just like basically the essence of always hitting on that bell. And then if you want to register for our online classes, you can see my number scrolling through the screen. Just send me a message on WhatsApp, and then I'll give you the details of the classes that we have available. Okay, now, so let's get straight down to the tutorial. Okay, so please, I want you to like this video. Just like the video. This actually helps me to know you appreciate what I did. Just hit on the like button. It actually takes nothing to do that. So thank you so much. Let's go. Okay, so these are the materials that I'm going to be making use of. This is my crinoline that I'm going to be making use of. So my crinoline is about 2 inches crinoline. It is a little bit thick. You have the one that is a little bit lighter. And then these are my elastic that I'm going to use for the chest part. So you can decide to use either the big elastic or you can decide to use the small one. And then this is the fabric that I'm going to be using for the dress. It is like a chiffon fabric. So I have about 3.5 yards of fabric here that I'm going to use. So the next thing now, we are going to fold our fabric. So I'll show you how to fold it because it is an off shoulder and it is a very full fillet. So I'm going to be folding it in a fuller way. So we'll cut the back and then cut the front. Also, it does not have any zip. So we're going to cut both the back and the front the same. Okay, guys, so I'm going to show you how we're going to fold our fabric. So for my fabric, I'm going to be folding it at an angle. So you can see, so this is the edge of my fabric. So I'm going to fold it like this. So when I'm folding it like this now, it is because I want it to be very full. So the next thing you are going to put into consideration after folding is the length of the dress. So because it is an off shoulder, so we're going to be dropping the shoulder. We're going to be taking 5 inches away from our measurement. You can do 6, you can do 7, depends on how much opening you want, but 5 inches is just ideal. So the next thing now, putting that 5 inches into consideration, you are going to take a point from this top part where you are going to insert your shoulder measurement or your chest line measurement. So for mine, for some people, you can actually measure. You can use your shoulder measurement or you can use your chest line measurement. For mine, when I measured my chest line, that's from one part of my armpit to the other, it gave me 14 inches. And then my shoulder measurement is 14 inches, so I can make use of the same 14 inches. So you are going to put that into consideration. So what I'm going to do, you are going to double that measurement, you understand, because we're going to be using an elastic to like gather it, the chest part, so for it to be full. So since we are going to use elastic, so I'm going to double that 14 inches. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my 14 inches like this. I'll place it here like this. You know, normally since my shoulder measurement is 14, I'm supposed to use 7 inches from that. I'm supposed to place, since my fabric is folded into 2, I'm supposed to place it here for beginners. That's why I'm trying to explain this. I'm supposed to place it here like this, and then I'll use 7 inches. But since I want to use double, I'm going to be making use of 14 inches. So this part of this part is just okay for us. So we can mark on this part now. So this point can be our start up. So note that we're taking out 5 inches like this from this point. So the next thing now is the length of our dress. So when you are making this dress, put into consideration the crinoline that you are going to use for the down part. You know, you are going to use the fabric to turn it. So I'm going to need about 4 inches for that because I'm going to turn. So what I have here now, I have about 42 inches. So I'm just going to leave it that way because at the end of the day, my dress is going to be like 38 inches. So I'm just going to leave that extra 1, 2, 3 is about 4 inches. I'm just going to leave that. So I'll use it that way. So I'm just trying to still adjust. Okay, so after marking, the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to start inserting our measurement. So I'm going to first of all mark out the full length. So you are just going to take your tape and then you mark it around. So let's cut it. Let's just cut it out. Okay, so that we'll have space on the table to work with. So we'll cut out this part also. Okay, guys, so the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to insert our neckline measurement. So for the neckline, since it is a straight neckline, so I'm not going to be adding anything on the neckline. So I'm just going to leave it straight like this. The next thing we're going to do now, we're going to define out our armhole measurement. So you know that we dropped our shoulder measurement by 5 inches. So what is remaining for the armhole that I'm making use of armhole of 9 inches. So I'm just going to come here and then I'll mark like this. I'll just put a mark here, and then from this point, since it is an off shoulder, you normally reduce your neckline measurement either by 1.5 inches or 1 inch. So it depends on what you normally do. But mine, I'm going to make use of 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to come to this point like this and mark 1.5 inches, and then I'll create my curve around that part like this. So now this is going to be my armhole, and then I'm going to just cut it out like this and then use these pieces to cut out the back. Okay guys, so we're going to go and stitch right now. So for the facing that I'm going to use for the neckline, so I just cut out straight fabric. This one is for the front. I just cut out straight fabric. I'm just going to use it to turn it down. So once I turn it down, I can now create my elastic casing here. So I'll just go ahead, I'll turn it. Okay guys, so I decided to let's fix our elastic casing first before we we join the two sides together. So for the top, if you notice the top part, you will see some like it has like a design on top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure from the neckline. I'll measure 1.5 inches. So this 1.5 inches, I'm not, and then after creating measuring the one, I think I should do this on the wrong side of my fabric. I'll do this on the wrong side of my fabric. So this top part, I'm going to leave this part and then I'm going to create my casing for the down. So I'm going to be making use of the slim elastic. So I'm going to create another tiny case here. So I'm just going to use about, it's not up to 1 inch if you notice. Just what can carry my elastic. So what I'm going to do now, I'll take it back to my machine. These two lines that I made, I'm going to make a stitch on this top line and then make a stitch on this down line. So after making that, I'm going to have a space on this middle. So that is where my elastic will pass through. So I'll do the same thing to the back and the front. Okay guys, so you can see how the casing, how it is looking like. So you can see I finished stitching. So the elastic is going to go in through this part like this. So after that, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to match my side seams together. Okay, so I'm going to match my side seam together like this. So this is the armhole part. I'll just stitch it from here to the down part, to the hem, and then I'll do the same thing to the other side. Okay guys, so I finished joining my side seam. So my dress is taking shape now. It's really looking beautiful. It's really full. So the next thing I'm going to pass my elastic case. So for the elastic, that's my elastic rather. So for the elastic, I'm going to use about 12 inches elastic. So 12 inches is okay. I don't want it to be too tight. Yeah, I don't want it to be too tight on the chest part. So I want it to have a little bit of freedom. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead like this. And then I'll cut out 12 inches, two pieces. One for the front and then one for the back. And then I'll go ahead, I'll pass it through the casing and then secure it on the side. Okay, so you see it is really looking beautiful. So I've passed the front one, so I'm going to do the same thing to the back one, and then I'm going to secure it on the side, and then we'll come back and cut out the sleeves. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I folded my fabric into four. So this I just random folded it. What I mean is that I'm making an exaggerated sleeve and I'm not making use of the stash and spread. So that is what I meant. So you know normally when you are cutting an off shoulder sleeve from this top part, you're supposed to use your round sleeve measurement on this top part. So for this, my round sleeve measurement is actually 10 inches. So normally I'm supposed to make use of 5 because it is folded into 2. But because the top part also has an elastic, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to double that measurement. So I'm going to make use of about 10 inches and then I'll add allowance of 2 inches to it. So everything I'm making use of is 12 inches. So the length of the sleeve that I'm making use of. So note that this top part, we're going to add an elastic casing into it where we pass elastic through. So you put that into consideration. So mine, I'm just going to fold this like this. That's I folded it to like about 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to measure the length. So you can see the length. I have about 19 inches. I'm still going to add an elastic to the down part also. So I'm going to leave that 1 inch that I'll use to fold the down part and then pass an elastic through it. So all of this, you put them into consideration. So the next thing I'm going to do now, the easiest and simple way to do this. So the width that I'm making use of is 16 inches width and then 20 inches long. So I'm just going to take my dress like this and then I'll take the armhole part. You remember that 12 inches part. I'm just going to take my armhole like this and then I'll place it here. Remember this part is going to be folded, so put that into consideration. And then I'm going to place this like this. So I hope you can see it. And then I'll create out an armhole. Just trace out my armhole like this. So I'm going to go ahead. So what I'm going to do now, take this back to my machine now, and then I'll go and create. Remember that inch is the one that I folded inwards. Just ignore this chalk here, please. So I'll just take it back like this, and then I would fold this down like this. So our elastic will pass through here, and then I'll also fold this down part also. You know, I used um about 16 inches for this, so you can make it how big, it depends on what you want. So I'll fold this down also. So after doing that, I'll come back and show you how to pass the elastic casing, how to pass the elastic, but I don't know why I kept saying elastic casing, how to pass the elastic through it. Okay, so you can see, so I'm going to show you, I'm just going to explain to you how I did the size of elastic that I use. So this is, I fixed this one. So this is the wrist part. So for the wrist parts, I just used my round sleeve measurement. That's my round cuffs measurement, which is 9 inches. That's what I use for here. And then for this part, I use 10 inches of elastic. So this is my 10 inches of elastic. So that's what I'm going to pass through this part. So I use 10 inches here. And then for this part, I'm making use of 9 inches. Okay, so the next thing now is for me to go ahead and fix the sleeve. So to fix the sleeve, here's how you're going to fix it. You're going to take this armhole part. So you make sure you just match them together like this from this armpit part. And then I will stitch it so you see it. So once you get to this part like this, the elastic part will match with the elastic part, and then I'll do the same thing to the other side. So I'll go ahead and finish that, and then I'll come back and show you how we're going to fix the crinoline at the down part. Okay guys, so you can see, so I finished joining my sleeve to it, so it really looks really beautiful. So the next thing now is for us to hem the down part with our crinoline. So I'm going to start from the front area. So I'm going to take, this is the right side of my fabric. I'm just going to take my crinoline. I'm going to come up with at least about half of an inch like this. This is the right side, please note. So I'm just going to do an effortless stitch. So when I say effortless stitch, so I'm just taking it a little bit inwards with about half of an inch. And then I'm just going to go ahead and stitch the crinoline on the right side. Remember the extra inches that I added to the down part of my gown because of this. So okay, so after stitching you should have something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully trim all of this excess from the down part of our dress. Just go ahead and go and trim them. I'm so sorry guys, my I didn't know that my video, it was not recording, my camera was not recording. So after stitching you turn it inside now. So this is the inside, so you just turn it inside and then you start doing a top stitch on it like this. Okay, let me show you from the other side that I've not gotten to. Okay, so this is what I meant. Now you know we stitched it like this on the right side of our fabric like this. So you push it inside now like this now. So this is the inside now, and then you start doing a top stitch on it. So that was what I was doing. I didn't know that my camera did not capture that. So you see it here. So you push it, turn it inside now. See the inside there, and now this is the outside of our dress. So you see how neat it is. And then you follow that edge, that tiny edge, and then just continue stitching until you get to the end. So with that, your crinoline will sit nicely. Okay guys, so at the end of the day, so you can see how our off shoulder circle dress with crinoline hem is looking like. So it came out really beautiful. So thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button. If you have any question, just drop your question on the comment section. So thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. God bless you. Bye.